Hola y buenos días. Yo soy el señor Morris. Soy el maestro de español. ¿Cómo están ustedes? Yeah, I'm just kind of playing with my juguete. Juguete. Remember we talked about that last lesson. Y mi juguete is de madera, right? Well, today we'll see how you're doing with your alphabet. We'll talk about the different places that plants live and the types of plants that live in each of the places. And then we'll read a book. Now, am I forgetting anything before we start today's lesson? Oh, yeah, our greeting song. Canten conmigo. Hola, hola, buenos días, bienvenidos, ¿cómo están? Todos juntos ya estamos listos para aprender. Muy bien. Well, I'll tell you what, today for our alphabet activity, I think I'll try something new. I'm going to show you a word. I'll even say it for you. And you just have to tell me the letters in Spanish to spell the word, okay? So here's the word. Okay, you can see it there. Okay. I'm going to read it for you. Madera, madera. Now all you have to do today is tell me the letters in Spanish. What letter is this? M, A, D, E, R, A. Muy bien. Now, do any of you remember what madera is? That's right, it's wood. And wood is one of the plant products that we've been talking about in the unit so far. But depending on where you live, you may or may not have a lot of trees and woods. Now, we really didn't have many big trees when I was growing up in El Paso, Texas. But here in Flagstaff, Arizona, there are a lot of pine trees. So today, I'd like to examine the plant habitats. So let's start off with a question. ¿Cuáles son los hábitats de las plantas? ¿Cuáles son los hábitats de las plantas? And let's look at some of those right now. This one here, you see, has a bunch of trees growing in it, big trees, and this would be called el bosque. El bosque. What would we call this in English? The forest. El bosque. Okay? Write these down in your Spanish notebooks, okay? Now, the next habitat is common here in the southwestern portion of the United States of America. It's generally known for all of the sand and the lack of rain. En español es el desierto. El desierto, and you can see that that's a cognate. Okay, go ahead and jot that one down. Now, the next plant habitat is found along the coast. The name for this one is a cognate. What is it in English? It's the ocean, y en español es el océano. El océano. That's right. And what do we call it in English? The ocean. Well, the last plant habitat also has a lot of water. It's not as big as an ocean or a lake, okay? Es la charca. La charca. Okay. Now, can anyone tell me what you think it is in English? It's got water. It's not an ocean. It's not a lake. Not a river. It's a pond. That's right. Now, although there are a lot of plants growing in each of the habitats that I've just seen, we're going to focus on one representative plant from each habitat, okay? So please help me out here. What plant do you think of when you think of el bosque, the forest? What do you think of? How about one of these? Yeah, a tree. En español se dice un árbol. Un árbol. Un árbol. That's a tree. Y en el desierto? What is that? Well, this is a cognate, so you can jot this down in your notebooks. El cactus. El cactus. Right? That one's pretty easy. I bet you won't have any trouble with that one. Y en el océano. Oh, yeah. ¿Cuál es una planta común? How about this? Seaweed. Right? En español es el alga marina. El alga marina. Marine algae, seaweed. You see that there? El alga marina. Y en la charca, in the pond. Oh, yeah. How about a lily pad? A lily pad. Or, en español, la ninfea. La ninfea. All right. Well, I tell you what, please review the plant habitats and the plants that we just discussed with this video while I get ready to read a book. Ahora, presten atención y repitan todos. Plant habitats. ¿Cuáles son los hábitats de las plantas? Este es el bosque. El bosque es un hábitat del árbol. Este es el desierto. El desierto es un hábitat del cactus. Este es el océano. El océano es un hábitat del alga marina. Esta es la charca. La charca es un hábitat de la ninfea. Well, I tell you what, I have a book for us to read today in Spanish, and I want to see how many of these words that you understand as we're looking through this book. The book we'll read today is called El Patito Feo. Now, you remember I've talked a couple of times that if you see this ito, that means a little one. So this is El Patito. A pato is a duck. So this is a little duck. Feo. Do you think you can guess what this story is going to be about? You might have heard it before. Hace mucho tiempo, una pata, so there she is, una pata, estaba echada sobre sus huevos en su nido. She was sitting there on her eggs in her nest. Ahí estuvo por muchos días, nada más esperando. So she was just sitting there, waiting and waiting. What is she waiting for? Al fin, los huevos empezaron a romperse. So there the eggs, and they're breaking open, they're cracking open. De los huevos salieron 5 patitos. So 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 patitos. Eran muy plumosos y de color amarillo. You see what color they are? Color amarillo. Solamente un huevo quedaba en el nido. So there's still one egg left. Como quisiera que saliera del cascarón, decía la mamá pata. She says, oh, I sure wish that last little duck would come out of his shell. Ella seguía echada y echada, so she just sat there and sat there. De pronto, el huevo se rompió y salió del huevo un patito grande y gris. Oh, so finally this guy came out and he's grande and he's del color gris. Gris es a combination of blanco y negro. Gris is gray. ¿Quién eres tú? Dijo la mamá pata. Who are you? ¿Quién eres tú? Vete de aquí, vete de aquí. Eres muy feo. Chirriaron los 5 patitos amarillos. Get out of here, they all said. Leave. Silencio, dijo la mamá pata. Silence. Oh, she doesn't want them to be mean to her little duckling, does she? Cada día el patito feo crecía más grande y más grande, y más feo, y más feo. Every day he got más grande, got bigger, y más feo, and uglier. Los otros patos venían a mirarlo. They all came to look at him. Uy, eres muy feo, le decían. Boy, you're really ugly, they said to him. El patito feo se puso muy triste. Look, he's triste. He's sad, isn't he? Nadie me quiere, dijo él. Nobody loves me. Mientras nadaba en el río, los otros patos le hacían burlo y los patos grandes lo picaban. The little ducks all made fun of him and the big ducks picked on him. El patillo feo creció más y más triste. He got more and more triste, sad. He got sadder and sadder. Nadie me quiere, pensaba el patito feo. Me voy a ir de aquí. Así que nadó muy triste por el río. Nobody loves me. I'm going to leave here. So very sadly he swam through the river. Después de un largo tiempo, after a long time, se encontró con unos patos salvajes. Ellos lo vieron y le dijeron, uy, tú sí, eres muy feo. So he met up with some wild ducks. And these wild ducks said to him, boy, you know, you really are ugly. Luego los patos salvajes volaron de ahí, dejaron el patito feo muy solo. So they were mean to him and they flew away and they left him all alone. How do you think that the poor duck feels, guys? Yeah, he feels sad. Cada día el viento estaba más frío. Las hojas se cayeron de los árboles y luego empezó a nevar. So the hojas fell from the árboles. The leaves fell from the tree and it began to snow. El pobre patito feo nadaba muy solo en el río. He was very much alone in the river. Luego el río se hizo hielo. Era el invierno. And then the river turned to ice. Era el invierno. Do you remember that? Winter. El patillo feo se escondió entre la caña. So he's going to hide in here, in the reeds. Él tenía frío y mucha hambre. Y estaba muy, muy solo. So he was there hiding. He was cold and hungry. And he was very much alone. Después de un largo tiempo, el hielo empezó a derretirse. So after a long time, the river started to melt. The ice started to melt. Los árboles ya tenían hojas. El sol brillaba. El sol, the sun, shined. El cielo estaba azul. So the sky is blue. Y los pájaros comenzaron a cantar. They started to sing away. Oh, despacito el patito esponjó sus plumas y caminó hacia el río. So he stretched out his feathers and walked towards the river. Se metió en el agua y empezó a nadar. He got into the water and he started to swim. Luego miró en el agua y qué sorpresa cuando él vio un pájaro muy hermoso con un pescuezo muy largo. He was so surprised when he looked in the water to see a beautiful bird with a long neck. ¿Quién es ese? Preguntó el patito feo. Well, who could that be? Asked the ugly duckling. De pronto oyó un alteo de alas, miró hacia arriba y vio otros pájaros. Eran iguales como el pájaro en el agua. Eran muy hermosos. So he heard them honking and he looked up and he said, those beautiful birds look just like the one in the water. Los pájaros hermosos aterrizaron en el agua, nadaron alrededor del patito. ¿Quiénes son ustedes? Who are you? Somos cisnes como tú. We're swans, they said, just like you. Pero yo soy un patito feo. But I'm an ugly duckling, he said. Mírate tú mismo, they told him. Look at yourself. Y el patito se miró, and he looked at himself. Oh, el patito feo ya no era un patito feo. He was no longer the ugly duckling. Era un cisne hermoso. He was a beautiful swan. Yo soy un cisne como ustedes, les dijo. I'm a swan just like you guys. Al fin he encontrado mi familia. At last I have found my family. Colorín colorado, este cuento se ha acabado. El patito feo. Yeah. Well, hopefully you recognized a lot of the words because you probably already knew the story. But I tell you what, for right now, let's go ahead and look at our activity sheet for today. It's called Hábitats de las Plantas. Okay? This one's pretty easy. Okay, go ahead and start off. Put your name up at the top. Roberto, soy yo. Now the directions say match the plant on the left to its habitat on the right. So here we have el cactus, el árbol, la ninfea, el alga marina, and then here are the places. We have la charca, el océano, el desierto, y el bosque. So all you have to do, and it's pretty easy, draw a line from the plant to its habitat and go over those words again so that you'll be familiar with them, okay? Well, today we looked at some of the plant habitats and some of the plants that you find in each of the habitats. Next class, we'll review what we did today and then talk about the names of some of the plants. Pero saben que ya es hora de despedirnos. For a goodbye song today, let's sing Cielito Lindo. And I'd like to hear all of you guys singing the ay, 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 ay with me. Canten conmigo. De la Sierra Morena, cielito lindo, vienen bajando. Un par de ojitos negros, cielito lindo de contrabando. Now, ay, 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 canta y no llores, porque cantando se alegran, cielito lindo los corazones. Until next class, adiós y hasta luego.